Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to this night-ending bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to this night-ending bonus upload, shall we? This interview was done 2 years ago, well, 2 years and 5 months ago. And Victor, as many of you know, has not been with us for quite a long time. I actually went back and looked at some dates today, and I thought it had been less time than it was. It's actually been 14 months since Victor was gone, or has been gone. He was poisoned because of information he shared here. And I don't think, or I know actually, they did not want that information getting out. He was granted certain, or had to follow certain lines of what to say. And because of becoming my friend and becoming a fixture here, he shared more than he should have and lost a lot during that process and paid with his life. Poisoned. One day we were talking, next day or a couple days later, he's in the hospital. Kidneys are shutting down. Anyway, here you go. Tonight, Victor has some time on his hands and went through the comment section and thought it'd be a good idea to answer those questions for you guys, the ones that he can answer. We're going to kind of go in order, and if we don't get to yours, it's nothing against you. So, Victor, how are you?
I'm great tonight. Hope everybody else is doing well, and hope you're doing well, Jeff.
I am doing wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So, a long time ago we started this with a Q&A. Kind of going to get into that a little bit tonight and just go in order. So, the first question would be from Montgomery B. And she says, I don't understand why the government would breed these crazy demons. Why? They are evil. I think the reason why they may have bred them is to keep people from living in rural areas. If people live in the cities, they are easier to watch, control. I don't know.
No, that's not the reason they was bred. The reason we bred these creatures was for military use. We was building forces with them. The Dogman, though, started not responding right to certain situations, and they started doing packs and wasn't doing like their orders curtailed them to do. Therefore, we had to start calling them back in, and we tried for about a year to 18 months bringing them in and reboot them and send them back out. But we seen that they, even after that we were still having problems with that, the same ones. So it was decided to trash their program 100%, call them in, euthanize them, and, do away with the Dogman program. The werewolf program was a success. It's done what it's done. We had 3% problem out of the werewolf program. And we had a fighting force at the end of it was the actual number, I've got it in front of me, is 77,408. That's what the actual number of the fighting force was. So it was quite larger than what I thought and had stated before. And at this time, they are just standing. There's nothing being done with them. We'll have to see where that goes. There's no breeding program going on at the time. When I came back from my mission in Africa that I went on, I was going to stay on and be over this program for a number of more years. But I have since changed my mind, and so I don't know if there'll be a breeding program or not. But no, they wasn't bred to keep the people in the city, so it'd be easier to watch. It's just that the Dogman has, I don't know, gained their own mind, so to say, and went offline on us. So we're calling them in and euthanizing them every day and humanely. So that's what I can tell Montgomery B.
Okay. All right, the next subscriber is Lisa Miles. Good show. I'm still a bit upset with Victor, but I get it. He's a very brave, amazing man. Please stay safe. I don't think I could go through thinking that he's lost again. First time has absolutely destroyed me. Be safe. Victor, God bless you.
Well, thank you, Lisa. And I'd like to tell you that I didn't like doing what I had to do with Sebastian. He was a friend to me. He was a companion at times when I could go down there and just spend time. And but with me having to go dark like I did and not knowing how long I was going to be gone, the longer I would have been gone, the more violent he would have got towards people and wilder he would have got towards the keepers and the people that would be taken care of. And he would have became dangerous to them, very dangerous to them. And he couldn't make it on his own in the wild. He had told me that. He had personally, out of his own mouth, said that he couldn't make it in the wild. He knowed he could. He'd been in captivity too long. He depended on humans for his food. He didn't know how to hunt anymore. I saved him from death once when he killed them 5 men. It was me that signed for that to keep him from being euthanized then. But I know that if me going dark, if something happened and I was gone, they'd just gunned him down. And I didn't want that. So I signed to have him euthanized, and he was euthanized humanely. And it was just, he just went to sleep. And just like you would your pet, a cat or a dog. And I know it doesn't sound right, and it hurts me today. But I did the best thing that could be done for him. And I just want you to know that, Lisa, that he was treated good, fairly, and with his age, you know, he was coming up on the end of life.
All right. The next subscriber who asked is Hunter1014. Wow, this was great, Jeff, Victor. As usual, put another good one out. Looking to hear more from him, ask him, would a silent dog whistle scare off a Dogman? And what about an air horn?
Okay, Hunter. We tried silent dog whistles back when we had the breeding program going. I could walk downstairs with a silent dog whistle and blow it, and we would get no reactions from nothing. We wouldn't even get a reaction from anything. The werewolves, the Dogman, they might look at you, but that's about the extent of it. As far as scaring them off, it didn't affect them. I've never tried it on a Bigfoot, so I can't speak for a Bigfoot. Now, the air horn is a different story. It's not a guarantee, but the sudden shock of the blast from an air horn seems to set them in motion. And once they get in motion, the motion's either forward or away from you. And most time it'll be away from you. So I see that the air horn to be a scaring tactic, you know, because they're not expecting it. And I would recommend an air horn over just about anything. Bear spray is really, really good if you buy the really, really good bear spray. But I'm talking, it's $100 a canister for the stuff that we used. But it worked. I mean, it'd stop them dead in their tracks. In a full charge, it'd stop a Dogman dead in his tracks.
Enough time to get a person away, you think? Or
it would turn them away from you. They wouldn't come on. It would turn them totally away from you. It'd stop a charge. It'd stop an attack.
Okay. All right, we pretty much done with that one?
Yep.
Okay. All right, our next subscriber comment question, Jay Chapman. So the overall reptilian population is on a decline and possibly toward an extinction event. I've heard about reptilians disguising themselves as human, but do they do this as a means to perpetuate their species, or is it for more nefarious means? Victor shared some very interesting and deep cryptid subjects. Excellent.
Yes, the reptilian population is on the decline. It's down to about 45,000 nationwide. This is from about 62,000 a year ago. The military is not involved in these things being killed off. We're not hunting them, haven't been hunting them. The only time we get involved with them is when they show up in a body at the White House. That's the only time we really get involved with them. show themselves through their eyes. They have no real meaning of being there. Why they're there, there's no reason. They just take over a human body, get inside it, show up. We get there, we identify, take them to a room, and get them out of the crowd, take them to a silence room, and take care of the problem. We, get them in there, make sure everything's good, and we take them to the enclosures where we keep them. And that's where they serve out their time, their life. And they seem to be happy down there mentally. And they never give any problems. We've never had no problems out of them. They've never been forceful or tried to resist or showed any aggression at any time. So I don't know the reason for them taking over a human body, because they can't live in them no longer than they can if their own body. Unless it's just to hide, but they can be seen easier through the eyes. It's the easiest place to see it, that they're in a human body, is by the eyes, or right underneath the eyes. Right underneath the eyes, you can see scaling at times, and that's real easy to see. And it shows up more times in the women than it will in the male, the female species, or than the male. So that's one other thing to look at. If you see like scaling underneath the eyes. And that's about it on that one. But that's about all I've got for that.
Okay. And the next question is another question from Jay Chapman. The creature that Victor dispatched on the coast of Northern California sounds like a pure abomination. It looked human but did not speak, and in the place of arms it had appendages that could slice through flesh. Sounds like a mermaid hybrid of sorts. Victor mentioned contacting Camp Pendleton to dispatch a helicopter to his area. I live near Camp Pendleton, MCB, and regularly hear helicopters flying to and from the base. Imagine one of those very helicopters I hear flying overhead was on its way north to retrieve the creature for its eventual transport to Virginia. I wonder when, the year, this occurred.
Okay, Jay Chapman, this was June of 2020, and it was a mermaid type hybrid, is what a male mermaid hybrid is what I would call it. And the arms, you've described them very well. Appendages that cut through flesh, bone. I mean, that night that I seen it do it, I didn't see it actually slice it, but when I got down there to the person, it was as clean a cut as could be made. And, it was just sliced, and I went back to, they pointed me towards the coast, so I went towards the coast and ran all the way and got down there and came out, and I thought it was a person, and I hollered at them to stop. They wasn't stopping, so I ran over and got about 40 yards to my right and got in front of them, and I could see the arms wasn't right, and I screamed out and stopped, and it wasn't. and it's human. And then it let its arms out to the side, and they looked like big old knives nearly. And that just took me back, because I've been in the face of everything, and that looked like a man, and it had these things on it, and it had legs, and there's no clothes there. I mean, it was like looking me in the mirror, and arms missing except for like flippers with sharp edges, and that took me back. Now that set me back that night. But yeah, I called it a mermaid male hopper, and it flew right into Pendleton down there at Marine Corps Base. I've been there several times. That happened June 2020.
All right. And the next subscriber, Carl Davis. Victor, could the large 22-inch prints belong to either the Gov'T or genus Squaw? Am assuming that the two subspecies of Sasquatch are not now extinct. Well, I'm going to address it because the Gov'T, the genus Squaw, the Skinwalker, the Wendigo are all Native American terms for what different tribes saw. The Gov'T is Micmac, more or less describing a Sasquatch with a large muzzle, human-like legs, my interpretation of a werewolf. The Wendigo is Mohawk, Iroquois, First Nation, Northern, East Coast tribe lore. Has no deer antlers. Skinwalker, native to Navajo. Yes, other tribes have shapeshifters, but they're not called skinwalkers. So when someone says, hey, I saw a skinwalker or a Wendigo in North Carolina, no, you didn't. You saw something completely different. But because of Reddit, creepypastas, and other cryptid narrators wanting to create monsters and create stories about the Gov'T chased me through the woods, well, if the Gov'T chased you through the woods, you're Micmac, and you are living in the late 1700s, possibly even further back, 1800s. So more or less, I'm going to say the 22-inch footprints were probably Sasquatch. What do you say, Victor?
Probably so.
Probably
a large species of it.
Alrighty. Now, the next question, once again, Jay Chapman. I'm very intrigued about those 18 to 20 inch or 20 feet giants with 27-inch footprints that inhabit the Northwest. I wonder if they are similar to the Kandahar giant or are a subspecies of a gigantic Sasquatch.
Well, I'm thinking along the lines of the Kandahar giants. What's been described, there's been 2 Canadian men that has met with us and described it. He said that he was approximately 400 yards away, said it was 22 foot tall, and said it wore a linen cloth across its loins, said that it was bearded, heavy muzzled, hair on the chest and stomach area, very light hair on the legs and arms, and light hair on the back. Said it had a full head of hair, like a human being. Said it was long hair. Said it was probably 12, 14 inches long. Like somebody had never had a haircut, like a man that never had a haircut. Said the head was humongous. Said the head probably was 16 to 17 inches wide. Said the teeth, he was looking at it through a scope. Said the teeth, it had opened his mouth, and he said the teeth was green, but said you could see them and they was square. Said the teeth was square looking. And I don't know if that's just how they come or what. He said it just looked like they was just blocks. Looked like they was all the same size, all the way around in its mouth, he said. And he said that it had two sharp teeth, but they was almost right in the middle on the upper side. And he said they was probably, he was saying a half inch longer than the rest of them. He said the hands was the size of a 12-inch frying pan. And he said the feet was 27 inches. I said last night it was 22, but it was 27 inches. And, but it's came down into the U.S. right there on the Idaho and Montana border. There's about a 30-mile strip right there that it comes into the U.S. on. And it'll come down inside the U.S. for about 7 or 8 miles. And that seems like as far as it'll travel inside the U.S. And we need to catch it on the U.S. side. We are black ops, and we can go any place we want to, but we've got laws we got to follow too. We would have to notify government, the Canadian government, if we wanted to go after this on account of the type of ops we are. And we just ain't gonna go there. They've asked for help several times, and we don't go out of the country. So we never went out of the country to help with cryptids. So we're going to keep it that way.
All right. And before we get into the next question, Emily Horak, happy birthday. We're glad that we had Victor on as well for your birthday. Victor, wish her a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Emily.
All right. We skipped over one wishing Emily a happy birthday, but DC, Georgia says, hey, Victor, please make the Georgia 28 your next mission if you can. Yikes.
Hey, DC, Georgia. Well, if you happen to live in Hancock County, you might be running into the Georgia 28. That's where they're at. It's in Hancock County, and we've called them in twice, and they hadn't moved. They hadn't moved 10 miles, so they're not voluntarily coming in. Don't look like. We're going to give them send out another signal tomorrow, and if they don't move, probably by Friday, within the next couple of weeks after that, I'll take a team down there and we'll get them to move or something else happens. So we'll see how that goes. Okay? Don't worry about it though, DC. It'll be taken care of.
All right, and then the next statement question we kind of address, Jay Ward, Bigfoot strength. They are reports of them getting into a Conex, a sea box container, without the locking mechanism being used. Also, the rams being bent by a bulldozer, D9 hydraulic that allow the movement of the blade. That's impressive. A lot of information can be found in Bobby Short's book, The De Facto Sasquatch. So we're going to touch basis on a little bit of the strength of Sasquatch real quick.
They're the strongest of the big three. It would probably take, if you could get enough men around him and get hold of him at one time, it would probably take 18 men to hold one Sasquatch. And I'm talking men. Strong men. They are tremendously powerful. There's no weak spot really on one. Their legs, their calves are just tremendously big. Their upper legs are like tree stumps. Then you get to their waist and abdomen. It's all just one, like a big, huge muscle in their chest. It's wide, and broad, and thick, and they've got no neck, and their shoulders are so wide. 58-inch across the chest. I mean, that's 4'10". Imagine that coming at you. That's just wider than a piece of plywood. And I mean, that's huge. Imagine 4'10" coming at you, and I think it was 21 inches through it. Was the biggest Sasquatch I've seen. That's how thick it was. Now imagine that getting hold of something. They can tear into anything. But I've seen them tear doors off of trailers, Connex trailers. I've seen them rip them off. There's nothing they can't get into. I mean, if they want in it, they're going to get in it. And there's no stopping them. The only way you're going to stop them, put a 458 in. And you got to put a bit in the head. Any place else, you just making them mad.
All right.
So.
All right, the next question is from Elisa Edwards. If the ones from the breeding program will maybe protect you, then why are they being killed?
Okay, Elisa. There's two from the breeding program. There's the Dogman and there's the werewolves. The Dogman's what we're having problems with, and that's the one we're euthanizing. The werewolves are the ones that will protect you. That's good guys in this program so far. Werewolves will protect you. We've got a boy down in Alabama that had one speak to him and protected him. And he was witness to how the breeding program works when they stand up for you. And but we're the breeding program worked on one and it didn't work for the other. And we originally had a Bigfoot and 2 females. And the male got sick, and with all the pets we had, it just kept getting sicker and sicker, and one of the females did the same. And there wasn't no getting the male back to help, and he finally died, and we took just 2 females to a location to release them. And within days, the one other female died, and the other female found her pod, and she's doing good today. So that program, you know, two of the 3 programs hadn't really been a success, but the werewolf program was.
Okay, then she actually asked a question right under Zcon. I haven't heard all of Victor's interviews. So where are all these things coming from? Have they always been here, or are just something ramping up now? So I think what she's trying to say is the little misunderstanding that the government didn't create them. They've always been here.
Yeah. Okay.
The next question or comment was from Magna 11. I think it was 200 plus wolves, Jeff, when I was talking about the super PAC. Well, I do my research, and before I speak, I make sure I know what I'm speaking about. And if you just type in super pack of wolves, the first thing that comes up is the small Russian town of Verhoinskik has recently been fighting a super pack of about 400 wolves. The predators have attacked livestock and killed 30 horses in 4 days. The size of the pack has stunned animal experts who say wolves usually hunt in small groups of 6 to 7. So, no, I was right because I do research before I speak. Most people should start doing that. Next question is from Chuck Hashman. Why doesn't Victor / the government allow the public to build and design the proper weapons to deal with all of these beasts, including biblical giants? This includes using air power along with redesigned guns that will turn these things into puppy chow. Imagine how excited big game hunters would be knowing they have prey that is too dangerous to hunt. The way I see it, Victor needs all the help they can get.
Thank you, Chuck. We do need more agents, but all our agents come from the military, as you know. So we don't, get outside help. And we do have the best weapons allowed that money can get. You take a .458 Winchester mag, and it'll take down any creature that I've ever hunted. It'll take down the Kandahar giants. And I know this from personal experience. Single shot, back of the head. 1 shot, 1 kill. It don't make them into puppy chow, but it does enough to put them down and put them in the grave. We don't need a bunch of big game hunters out there running around trying to kill something that's too dangerous to hunt to start with. Because once they face one of these things and realize what it is, them not having the experience and expertise to do this, they're going to freeze up, and this thing's going to respond to them, and it's going to kill them. And then when it does kill one of these big game hunters, it's going to put us in a harder place, the agents or myself in a harder place, because then we've got to go out and kill this animal. And to do, if it's from the breeding program, it knows that we're going to be coming. And at that point, that animal or creature is going to be killing everything it sees in the woods, close to it. Man, woman, child, cats, dogs, kills anything, because it knows that somebody from the breeding program agency coming to take it down. And that just makes it harder on us when we have people out there hunting these things. Now, if they're successful in killing it, that's all the better. That's one less I have to worry with. But if they don't, well, it just makes life for me a little harder. But I appreciate you telling them that I do need help. And I appreciate that, Chuck. Thank you.
The next question, Douglas Dickinson. They also found caves and caverns in Cades Cove recently, within the past few years. The local natives lived underground during the hard winters. Well, ironically enough, what was that? How long ago was that? Did we do that upload, Victor?
That was in July.
Yeah, and we talked about the cavemen out there.
No, that may have been.
No, that was
May.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that a lot of people are new, so they haven't heard that. You want to kind of touch basis on what happened out there?
Okay. Cades Cove, Tennessee. That's a tourist attraction up there. Big loop road, and people kept telling the DNR and the people that run the place there that they were seeing people half dressed and they looked like cavemen. And finally they caught wind of it and seen one. Actually, one of the DNR officers walked up on one and was stabbed in the side. And this is what brought us in. They called us, got all of us things done. They closed down the cove for, I think it was 4 or 5 days till we got down there. Myself and six or seven more agents went. And we was in there, and we walked in, closed off at the gate, just, landed the helicopter and started walking in from there. And we got around nearly to the halfway point where the loop loops around. And I'm on point, and just out of my left corner of my eye, I see something above the brush moving. And I stopped, and you could tell it was the top of spears moving up and down. So I split the men off. We went to the sides of the ditches, and they walked out and got right on the paved road, walking away from us, never looked back at us, never seen us, walking straight away from us. And we let them get 200 yards ahead of us. And we started following them. And we followed them, and we had to get closer and closer. They finally went off the road again and was going through the woods and was heading south out of the national park into the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, into the main mountains. And I got to where we could smell smoke. and I seen them as they went into the cave. And they went inside this cave, and we surrounded up around the front, about 45 yards outside, decided to make our plans, and started hollering and everything. And it drew the men out. And I hollered one time to put down their weapons. They wouldn't put the weapons down, so I doubt they even understood me. And I opened fire along with the rest of the agents. We shot them down. And then we moved into the cave. And there was women and elderly men in there. And I was over there. I was over there with one of the elderly men trying to tie him up, putting his hands behind his back and put them in them plastic loops and tie his hands together. And one of the women jumped on my back and stabbed me in the chest with a stone knife. And one of the other guys got her off of me. He shot and killed her. And that old man that I was trying to put his hands behind his back and cuff him, he came up. And somebody ended up shooting him. Well, before it was over, all 13 of them was dead. There was no children. They ended up defining the ages. The youngest one there was 17. And the old man, they said, was 81, I think, was his age of the age range. And, but they had an underground cave that they was living in. And they had a fire pit in the middle of it. And the smoke went up through a hole that they had fixed. It went straight up and out through the top of the cave. It didn't go out through the mouth of the cave where we walked in. It went up through the top of the cave and out that way. And that was pretty ingenious of how they got the smoke out of the cave. But it was always dry in there. They had running water probably 25 yards outside the cave. Warm. It was warm in there. And dry. And I hated having to do what I did. But, we got out and got bandaged up enough to get help coming to us, because 3 of us got injured. And we loaded them on a helicopter and flew them to Virginia, and we flew back to Virginia, and I got stitched up in Washington. And, had about 28 stitches put in my chest where they stabbed me. And I sent Jeff a picture of that.
All right.
That was pretty good up there.
So that's just a little bit of the Cades Cove thing. Let's get to the next question. Next question is Troy Perez. Sorry if I massacred your last name. Victor, does the person who threatens citizens when they had encounters in the past, possible tracker, son of a former tracker, work for or with you?
The answer to that, Troy, is no. None of my people would ever threaten you. No way. Now, It could be somebody that has retired out and doing it on the side illegally. They're not supposed to once they leave the agency. They're not supposed to do it at all. It could be just somebody that's doing it on their own and saying they're from the government or something like that. But no, you would never, ever be threatened by one of my agents. And if you are, my agents would show you credentials. That's how you'll know it's us. Real credentials. They'll also give you a card. You'll have their name on it. Underneath their name will be mine. And if they don't give you a card with their name on it and my name under them, it's not us. So, no. That's the answer for you, sir.
Next subscriber is going to be Inquisitive Southern Woman. From his description, I can now say my encounter was with a dogman. My question for Victor is, how likely is it for a dogman to sniff you out? It looked me straight in the eyes, like it knew I was the one that passed by in my car the first time I saw it. First time it was upright, then the second time it was on all fours. It was almost like he smiled at me as he was walking the other way. It's been 11 years now, but I only live roughly 12 miles away. So my question for Victor is, how likely is it for a dogman to sniff you out?
You know, they get your scent. They can track you for miles. I mean, they can get on your scent and follow you for hundreds of miles. Easily. Now, by car, they can't do it. Probably, I'd say maybe 20 miles, but by walking distance, 100, 125 miles, 130 miles probably before they'd lose your scent. If you could get ahead of them that far even, if you're just walking, because they travel so much faster, they'd stay up with you. But if it was by car, you know, that you'd have to get 20 miles ahead of them, and you'd lose them that way. But if you only live 12 miles away, yeah, he could track you. Yeah, he could track you that far easy.
Okay. Also, Inquisitive Southern Woman, please, if you're willing to, send me an email, and I'd love to either have you come on the show and talk about your encounter or narrate it, whichever you'd like. Which brings me to an email really quick. Give me 1 second. And hang on. From KM. Interesting stories. Yeah, about that email. If you're not going to respond, then it's really pointless to give listeners that information, unless that's part of the show and I misunderstood. Well, KM, either you didn't email me or you don't know how to email people, because I respond to everybody's email in a timely fashion. And actually a subscriber, he pointed that out. I don't, even if I'm busy and it's a couple days later, I always respond. So if you are trying to get in touch with me, make sure you put the right email in, or you probably didn't, because I always respond. But back to Southern Inquisitive Woman, please, It's nadolny.m.jeff@gmail.com. It's in the description below. I will gladly love to hear your encounter and have it on the show. All right, the next question is from Ajax Ashford. What about their origins? Where do they come from? Did we create them?
Well, Ajax, we did not create them. God did. They've been here since the beginning of time. They was brought here just like Adam and Eve and all the other creatures. And that's also, where did they come from? Well, they came from God. They was put here. They was all, at one time, all over the place. And then they got into smaller areas. The Dogman that we captured to do the breeding program came out of Mississippi. The werewolf that we captured to do the breeding program came out of Louisiana. The Bigfoot that they captured to do the breeding program with was captured in Montana. So that's, where they came from. About their origins, the first writings of the Dogman that I've read about is in Egypt. For the werewolf, the first there I've read about was in India. And first origins of the Bigfoot that I've read about came from the, oh boy, I just went brain dead. Himalayas. So that's the basic origins. And where did we get our starting breeds from? That's where they came from. I don't know if that's exactly what you're looking for, but we created none of them. We didn't alter them in any way. We tried to pick, after we started capturing these things and bringing them in, we tried to make do selective breeding with females to our males. Raphael was a different type of a dogman than your standard looking dogman. Sebastian was a different looking werewolf than standard looking werewolf. And the Bigfoot program we never had because it never was successful enough. There's just slight differences in our breeding stock that we had at the time, that our males was different. Raphael and Sebastian wasn't our only two breeding males. We had other breeding males, but they wasn't as, what's the word? They didn't produce as good of stock as what Raphael and Sebastian produced. And when we got the right females with them, we started cutting down on the other breeding and putting the other females with these two. We finally got down to where it was Sebastian and two more werewolves is all we bred with. as far as males. Now on the Dogman, and this may have been some of the problem, we always had Raphael and 5 more breeding Dogman, because everybody before I got to where I had any real control in the program thought that the Dogman was going to be the fighting machine, and it didn't turn out that way. And up to about 3 years ago, they believed that, until they seen what I was doing with werewolves, and see how the werewolves was coming along, and how they responded, and how they acted. And 15 years ago, I took a group of 24 werewolves on a mission out of country, and was very highly successful with them. And then it seemed like it was every month I was gone out of country to do a mission with werewolves, come back, hunt monsters, go out of country to do a mission, come back.
Victor, we're going to have...
So, you know, we'd go out of country and come back, and they seen what they was doing, and seeing how good they was responding to me, how loyal there was, and losing no troops. And finally, one mission, I got a werewolf shot down. This was probably close to 15 years ago, and probably 14 years ago. And we was leaving, mission complete, and all the other werewolves was there with me, was coming out, and I stopped, and I picked that werewolf up, probably right at 380 pounds, got him across my shoulders, started walking out with him. And werewolves asked me what I was doing. I told them, we don't leave nobody behind. And I probably walked 200 yards with him, and was giving out, was getting tired with him. And one of the others came up to me and took him, carried him the rest of the way out to the pickup point, which is probably, I don't know, maybe a click away, probably not that far. And I got the respect of the werewolves that night, and they passed the word. And since then, I've had it. And that's how good they are.
All right. Now, really quick, just so there is not any misunderstanding of what he is saying, Victor never hunted other cryptids or cryptids outside of the country. He used the werewolves as soldiers outside of the country, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I done. I was on other missions outside the country. Just like this past month, I was in Africa, and had 48 with me there, and somebody else gets some other company gets the you know, the glory for it. And you know, it's not right, but who's going to stand up there and say, well, this one man and these these 4 men and these 48 werewolves went down there and got this person back? You know, who's going to say that? Or something like that, you know, who's going to say that? So, anyway, I ain't complaining. I've got a good career.
All right, really quick before we venture on, I usually do the comment section the first hour, maybe hour and a half, throw hearts out, for the simple reason of, since I've grown, I've found trolls. As we've been doing this, I've been going and I've been noticing a guy named Amon Delaney. Well, Amon, I'm going to make you famous. Thanks for trolling my channel. You've only had a YouTube name since November 7th of 2020, and you've trolled my channel since then. So guys, when you see him, give him some love, would you, from me? And I really appreciate it.
Give him some love from me, too.
All right. Next question is from Michelle Gov'T. Is there a difference in the temperament between male or female Dogman? I do recall you stating the female werewolf have never caused harm.
Well, no, the females are not near as aggressive as the males. Not in any sort of the way they are. The female Dogman will attack, provoked and pushed into a fight. Most of the time they will run away. If they have any chance, they'll run away. The werewolf, I promise you, if it's female, she will run. And most of the time you won't even see a female Bigfoot except you've seen Patty. That's the most famous film of all. And but Bigfoot don't want to be seen either. So they usually, all of the females will be moving away from you, not aggressive. The female Dogman will stand if pushed into a fight. I'm sure the werewolf or Bigfoot would too, but if they've got any type of a chance to leave, they're going to. And they're going to take, if they have to go up the face of a bluff, they're going to go up to get away from you.
Okay. All right. My next subscriber question comes from Janice Moreau. Janice, it's always a pleasure seeing you in the comment section. So I made sure that we definitely answered your questions. Hello, Victor. It's great to hear your voice and learn about these cryptids. I have a few questions for you. Read that Sasquatch bury their dead. How do Dogman and werewolf take care of their dead in the wild? Just curious, because seemingly archaeologists and other professionals have not openly discussed finding skeletal remains of these canids. In 2018 or 2019 timeframe, a female was killed in Mount Hood in Oregon. The officials never released what caused her horrific death, other than they thought it could have been a mountain lion, but never confirmed it. Do you know if it was a Dogman responsible? Third question. Victor, I can understand calling out Dogman, but don't understand why the werewolf or wolfman would be called out, especially with the Pacific region being so volatile. Wouldn't it make sense to keep the capability in case war should break out? Can you relay what the Dogman and Wolfman populations are for Washington?
Okay. Let's go to the first question. I'm working on my computer right now trying to find out something. Dogmen, they just leave their dead laying to the elements. They don't do anything with them. They don't try to bury them. They don't try to do anything with them. They've got no respect for the dead. remains of a dogman if you get out in the woods. They rot away pretty fast, but other than that, I can just about take you at any time and walk you through the woods in the day's time and find you a skeleton of a dogman. Now the wolfman, they bury theirs. They're like the Sasquatch. They bury their dead because they're more. They live 2 or 3 in the group. Usually one male and 2 females is usually how they live. And after the young get up of age of 6 or 7, they're out on their own and doing what they need to do to survive. And but the 3 that they'll live together for many years and never turn their back on one another. And but they bury one another. And if the male dies, the females will bury the male, and they'll try to stay together and try to find a single male that'll take on both of them. And that's how they work. Now I've actually got 2 female hikers that was killed in that hood, both in 2019. I've got one that's being killed by a mountain lion, confirmed, and I've got one that we investigated. And the one that we investigated, she was beaten bad. And the tracks that the agents found was 18.5 inches, 7 inches at the toes, and 5.5 inches at the heel. And they tracked for 4 days, and they seen Bigfoot, but the 2 agents never could get a shot. They said it was like he was supernatural. Every time that one would get a rifle on him to shoot, you wouldn't be able to see him. And then the other one would get a rifle on him, and he would lose sight of him. And they never could both see him at the same time. And that's what's in the report. And there was never a closure to it. So that may be what she's looking at. Looks like it happened at night, and that she came out of a tent to see what was rustling around in her things is what they've written up. And as far as culling the dogman, we're culling them as fast as I can. And I'm not culling the wolfman. We're not doing anything with the wolfman. They're just out there right now. They're not doing anything. They're no harm for me. They're on standby right now still. And it's pretty bad up there in the I'm ain't gonna do this but one time. And I'm gonna give you the population for the whole state. And the population for the whole state of Washington. Dogman, there's, for the whole state, hold on just a second. $468. That is from the breeding program. And if you look at the Wolfman from the breeding program in Washington State, there is 111. Janice, I hope that helps you.
All right, guys, and tonight's last question will be from Bill Schnicks. What's the big three diet? So what do the three mainly feed on?
Okay, let's start with the Dogman. And they're mostly meat eaters. Just about 95%. They will eat berries. Excuse me. They'll eat berries occasionally. They'll chew grass, but they don't like it. The werewolf, strictly a meat eater. 100%. You won't see them eating anything but meat. That's all. That's 100% their diet. And then you get to Bigfoot. Now, Bigfoot will eat berries. He'll eat grass. He'll eat meat. Bigfoot will eat just about anything it can get its hands on. They love watercress. Just anything, really. Just take a human diet. Think about things in a salad. They'll eat corn. When it's growing, they'll take it, and just eat it off the cob. It's just nothing much they won't eat, is what I'd have to say on Bigfoot. Because it loves getting in gardens. It loves meat. It loves just about anything. I don't know what I could say that it don't eat. It'd be the easiest thing. The Dogman will eat roadkill. The werewolf kills its stuff to eat. Now, the ones that we had in captivity, it was fresh meat every day. I mean, it had to be like bloody meat, fresh, for them to eat it. I remember talking to Sebastian and him telling us about his diet. Before his younger days, catching rabbits and deer and everything, and tearing the fur back to get to the meat underneath, and being hungry at a certain time, be trembling trying to get to the flesh. The skin tore off to get to the flesh, to the meat to eat. And he sounded like they could get excited to get to it, but with their claws, it didn't take them but a minute or two to get torn in and underneath, and they was there. So it ain't like they went hungry, But that's another sign for you when you're around your home, is to watch. They can catch a small game first. Small game, the wild game's going to go. When you see it gone, then you're going to start to see your domestic animals, your dogs and your cats. You're going to see them start missing. And after you see your dogs and your cats go missing, you can start looking at farms for their livestock, lambs, sheep, cows, steers, occasional full-sized bulls, horses. They'll finally get to taking down the full-sized bulls even if they get hungry. And a lot of times they'll rip off the hind end of a cow and leave the rest of it laying and take that hind end to wherever they'll end up at. And it's just amazing how they do eat and stay alive. And then after that, if they run out of that and they don't leave the area, they're gonna start hunting humans, because that's all there's left to eat. And unfortunately, that's the ones that give us trouble. That's the ones that stay till the food runs out and won't leave the area and starts hunting humans. And that's when there's trouble in the area. But that's about all they eat.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's Q&A with Victor. It's always a pleasure having him on, and tonight, this was his idea. He'd been looking through the comment section and saw how many great questions there were. And he really felt like you guys needed to have those questions answered, and he wanted to definitely answer them for you guys tonight. So I hope you guys definitely enjoyed tonight's upload. Victor, anything you'd like to say to everybody before we go?
Just remember to get out in the wild. Enjoy it out there. That's what it's here for us. That's what these wildlife management areas and national parks are here for. They're here for the people, and we are the people. So get out there and enjoy it. Don't be scared. Just be cautious. Be alert. God bless every one of you. Good night.
Good night, buddy. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this night ending bonus as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. After all, it is your support that keeps this channel growing and going, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is treated with the respect we all deserve, and that is all because of you guys, so thank you. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless.